second half.
Here comes Gooden gonna score the 2 and 1.
Full drive inside. Stop. Hang on a pivot. Turnaround jump shot is good.
Jordan Battle with a nice spin move. Kicks it down low. Fardaws, Big Maple with the finish.
What's up, Black Hoops Nation? It is another bright and early Wednesday morning here. August morning, I guess we could say. We're getting closer to the 2022-23 season. As you can see, I got my co-hosts, Chelsea and Daryl. We're going to talk some women's hoops, especially since it's T-Bird Nation week this week, previewing one of the two newest members of the WAC in Southern Utah. We'll bring in our guest in just a moment. Again, remember, check out the links in the description. Get your NBA gear, get your MLB gear, get your NFL gear. I mean, NFL season is right around the corner here in 2 weeks. There's also college fan gear that you can get. Help us out, support us at WAC Hoops Digest so we continue to bring you this great content that we're bringing you as we preview the 2022-23 season. Again, it's hashtag T-Bird Nation Week. And with us today, we have Southern Utah women's basketball head coach Tracy Sanders. Tracy, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I want to get your feelings on joining the WAC. I mean, you've been in the Big Sky the last couple of years. Well, Southern Utah's been in the Big Sky for quite a while. Now you're in the WAC. What do you know about this conference? What have you seen, maybe learned this summer as you get ready for, this new adventure?
Right. I mean, we're excited about it. Obviously, being fairly new here to Southern Utah, going into my 5th year. I was able to be in the Big Sky for 4 years, and that's a great conference. I think the WAC is a great conference. I feel like we were just kind of getting comfortable in the Big Sky. So now, I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. Obviously, you're figuring out travel, you're figuring out, different teams and different scouting reports and stuff like that. So it's a new adventure. I think we're excited about it. I think we're excited about, where this conference is, the teams that are in this conference. There's obviously been some teams that have had some great success. It's definitely going to be a challenge. I think travel is going to be a whole new world for us. And so I think it's just going to be figuring a lot out this first year, but we're excited for it.
You talked about the travel. I asked Todd Simon about this yesterday. The fact that you get to play Utah Tech twice, which is a 50-mile drive from Cedar City, and you get to play Utah Valley twice, which is about a 3.5 hour bus ride, maybe up to Orem. I mean, how excited are you for that? I know Southern Utah has, Weber State in the Big Sky, but now you get 2 in-state schools as conference opponents. I mean, that's got to be pretty exciting to know that you're going to have those I-15 rivalries.
It is. It is. I think that's a big fun factor for us is going into this with, having 3 schools here in the state of Utah, I think is a big thing and going to create some great rivalries. And hopefully, fans are going to travel to those games, I think, for all 3 teams. So that's exciting is really going to be creating that rivalry. And, we've been lucky enough to have them in the preseason the last few years that I've been here. So it's going to be fun, good coaches, good people. We're just excited to have that in-state rivalry. Awesome.
Before we get to Daryl and Chelsea's, gauntlet of questions about the roster and everything else, I want to ask you, 2021-22 was one of the best seasons in program history in Southern Utah women's basketball. 14 conference wins in the Big Sky. You've had a couple of those seasons since you've taken over in Cedar City. What's been the key for you there in having that success and improving that success each and every year?
Yeah, I think winning takes time. It's definitely a culture thing. And I think when we first got here, it was really kind of changing the competitiveness, accountability. I think there were some things that really needed to be put in place for us to kind of make that next jump. Obviously, recruiting plays a big factor, but I think, we needed some accountability. We tried to make everything competitive and really focus on even if it's in practice, we're working hard to win whatever drill it is. There's a winner and there's a loser. And I think we needed to create that. And so it's been a fun journey. I feel like it's still, we've been successful the last couple of years, but I think it's a process. We're not going to be content until we're sitting at the top. And so we just got to keep working. We have a great recruiting class in this year. So I'm just really excited about the direction we're going.
Yeah, I'm going to let you take over first before we get to Chelsea.
Morning, Coach. Thank you for joining us. as one of the two newcomers, do you feel like the actual basketball aspect of coming into a new conference is going to be tougher than the off the floor stuff? Hotels.
Oh yeah.
Work touristy things that you can do off the floor with your team, the restaurants, figuring that piece out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's a great conference. Like I said, I think you have some great coaches in this conference. We're going to have to get used to all of that with the travel, and all that is going to be a little bit different. So I do think to me, this conference is a little bit more athletic, more speed than I think we've seen in the Big Sky. So there's going to be some things that we're going to have to adapt to and get ready for. I think I have a great staff. I tell them all the time, I have the best staff in America. They're amazing. And I do think they're going to do a great job of preparing us for those games. So, we just got to take care of business and really kind of hone in on our different opponents. And I think especially this first year, I mean, every team is going to be a tough game for us, as we're figuring it out, and we're figuring out how to play on the road in different places, and how to, adjust to different styles and different teams and things like that. So it's going to be, it's going to be a year of figuring things out, I think, for us.
You talked about it a little bit with Kyle, but, you've played Utah Valley and you've played Utah Tech in the past, like in non-conference play, but now that they are conference opponents, does that change your view of these programs at all, or do you kind of approach the game the same way?
I think, we're going to approach it the same way. It's kind of like I said earlier. I think we have to. We've tried to build a competitive culture. We're playing every game like it's the biggest game of the year, and I think we'll continue to do that. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, as we create this rivalry, which has kind of already been there, but I think it's just going to continue to grow now that it's a conference rivalry. Two great teams. I mean, I know Dan and JD well, and we're excited for this rivalry. I don't think, it's not going to be easy matchups for us. We've lost to UVU, we've beat UVU. There's already kind of that rivalry that's in place. So I think it's just going to continue to grow.
You get Charita Doherty back for this maiden voyage through the WAC. How big is it to have such a grizzled veteran, albeit from another conference, as you embark on this journey?
Charita's great. I mean, she's been around the block. She knows what we do. She knows how we do it. She's really, I feel like, is kind of emerging as a leader for us this year. And we've asked her to do that. She needs to step up a little bit more. I think she's someone who I feel like we haven't even seen the best Charita yet. What she's capable of doing on the floor is pretty incredible. And we see it in practice sometimes. And I think, her biggest fault is that she's very unselfish. And so she works really hard to get her teammates involved. And we kind of get on her like, we need you to take the shot, or we need you to do this. It's the best thing for our team. So she's embracing that role. I think she's going to be fun to watch. She knows this is her last year. She's excited for the opportunity to get to play another year. And I think we're going to see some really great things out of her this year.
I want to ask about, another member that you added to your roster this offseason. It was kind of actually a surprise that she left Orem to come down to Cedar City, and Megan Jensen. I mean, she was very, very efficient in her time on the floor for the Wolverines and add some size, especially considering she battled Josie Williams in practice every day. Like, how excited are you to have her and the ability that she has to finish in the paint for you?
Oh, so excited. I mean, I think we were excited when she was coming, but now that she's here and we've actually got to coach her and see what she's capable of, like, beyond excited. She's so skilled, just a hard worker, a great teammate. But yeah, I mean, when she gets the ball in there, she makes great reads. She's patient. She's strong. She can shoot it out to the three, which was kind of a pleasant surprise. We didn't know that was really coming. So she's very versatile. I think she can defend a little bit on the perimeter too. So, we can play her with a Lizzie Williamson or an Ashley Banks and have, 6'3", 6'5" on the court together. So we're just super excited about her. I think she really fills a void for us with Dari Dotson, who was a big player for us last year. And so I think having Megan come in, like, we're pumped about that.
I think when we've been on these podcasts, we were on with Susie Barkham last week, and she talked about having size in this league. I mean, how nice is it to have size? I mean, we saw what Josie Williams did. Katie Scott did it a couple years at Grand Canyon. a couple of years ago. I said before she transferred. You had Caitlin Harper at California Baptist last year. I mean, there's been some good bigs, and you've got a couple of them. Like, how excited are you to have that size, and how advantageous is that for you?
I think it's great. I mean, it's been fun to watch them go at each other in practice, the last couple of weeks. But we have Ashley Banks coming from Boise, and she's 6'5", so her and Lizzie can kind of go at each other. And then you add Megan in there. So, I mean, we have a very, very tall lineup when we have those three, that we can kind of mix and match. And like I said, Megan can play that 4 spot for us. So it's been really fun to see. But I do think it's going to be a tough matchup. I think the more versatile we can be kind of in that 4 spot too, like Ashley can stretch it out a little bit now. So it's fun to see, because it's great to have the height, but, we have to figure out how to play with them too. And we have some great people that can get to the basket. So when you have a big that can kind of stretch the floor like a Megan, it just opens things up a little bit too. So I'm super pumped. Good group. Really good.
I am so sorry that I'm asking so many questions because I need to let my co-host, step in here. I got one more though.
Yeah.
You were talking about the height and trying to figure out how to guard certain, lineups and stuff on the floor. I mean, you're in Utah. You've seen what the Utah Jazz struggled with Rudy Gobert and, playoff-wise when, they have to bring him out. Did you ever, think about that with your roster when you're just talking about the height and learning how to guard different positions and different lineups with the size that you have?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think in the WAC, we're going to see some 4 guard lineups. So we're going to have post players that can defend on the perimeter. I think there's going to be times where we're playing 4 guards because that's advantageous to us if we want to get speed. Or Tamika Whitman is a great addition for us. I mean, I'm so excited about her, and I think her versatility where she can play some of the 4 and go post up. A mismatch. And so the thing I love about the team right now is we do have that versatility where we can show a lot of different lineups. We have a speed lineup, we have a strength lineup, we have a defensive lineup, and then we have our big lineup. So we have a lot of different things that we can do. Now it's kind of our job to get them to figure out how to play to that advantage when we have those people on the court.
And when I was researching your team, I think one of the things I was most impressed about, besides, just on-court success, was the success you had in the classroom as well. A couple years ago, I mean, you were in the top 5 in GPAs in the country. How important is academic success and potential to you when you're recruiting, but also once they're in your locker room? Yeah,
it's very important for us. I think it says a lot about you, I think, as a high school or a transfer coming in, if you already have those grades. But I also think we have a culture right now where it is important to our group that's here. And so if you're new, you kind of buy into that culture. It's just kind of the way it's worked out. It's been good because, it's hard when you have to coach and then, constantly be checking up on grades and following people around to make sure they go to class and stuff like that. We don't have that issue. And part of that's recruiting. We're recruiting good people. I think that, academics are important to them. Being out in the community is important to them. Being a good reflection of our program and our university is important to them. So a little bit of that is on our end, but I think we also, we have a culture where that has become important and a priority for them.
I'm going to throw a fan question from the Twitterverse out here from David Saul on Twitter. You kind of already addressed how you felt about the move into the WAC, but does the new conference change your recruiting with the fact that there is now a Texas pod that you're playing against? And stylistically, how are the 2 conferences different?
Yeah, I think for us, Texas is a place where I think when I first got here, there were, we've had a couple players from Texas. There's a lot of schools in Texas. So I think going in there and trying to pull some people out could be a challenge for us. But I do think it's something for us that we're going to start looking at now, just because, they're going to have the opportunity to play at home when we go out there and play on the road. So it is going to be kind of a new adventure for us. But we're excited about that. But I do think it's something that we're going to try to tap into a little bit more than we have in the past. Becca Cardenas, one of the, she was here when I first came to Southern Utah, one of the greatest players that I've ever coached. She was from Texas. And so, we do have we've had some pieces from there. So we're excited about that adventure. But it is, I do think there's different styles in these two conferences. And like I said, I think, speed and athleticism, I think we're going to see more 4-guard lineups and things like that. I do think we have an advantage with the height that we have on our team. And so we have to figure out how to play to that advantage. I also think we, being at elevation here in Utah, we also have an advantage if we can push the ball and play up tempo. So we need bigs, and we need bigs that can run. And I do think we have that. So there are going to be some differences and some things that I think we're going to have to adjust. And I think recruiting wise, we really talked about, we have a couple scholarships to give still for this upcoming year. And we're kind of like, let's see how this year goes. Let's see what we're missing, what we need to be able to compete and be our best in this conference.
Tracy, if you had a chance, obviously I would hope you have a chance to look over like the conference schedule matchups and, the fact you get GCU, New Mexico State, Tarleton, looks like UTRGV, Utah Tech, and Utah Valley twice. Then you got to take kind of a weird 3-game away, the single game away games with Abilene Christian, Seattle, U, and UTA. Like, what are your thoughts on it? Like, how excited are you for the fact of the ones you get the double games against, but kind of the single game ones too that maybe make some awkward travel a little bit?
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I'm just super anxious to see the schedule. I'm sure everyone is. I heard that it might be coming out yesterday, heard it might be coming out today, but I think, I'm just curious how it's going to get paired up and what it's going to look like. But, looking at the schedule, I like it. I'm excited about our matchups. I think, we have a good home schedule. I'm okay with the away schedule. So, it is what it is. I'm just excited to see it and kind of get started and start putting things together.
I'll let them ask you the other schedule question. We're usually on top of that. I'll let them ask you.
Okay. I was going to ask actually about the computer seating system that we are going to for the tournament. And what were your thoughts when it came out initially? And if you've had a chance to kind of delve deeper into it, how do you feel about it now?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm up in the air. I really want to see like how it plays out for us scheduling wise. This preseason is the toughest preseason that I've had since we've been here. And we kind of designed it that way prior to knowing how they were going to do the conference seating and all that. So, I'm really curious to see how it plays out and how it's going to work out on the women's side. It could not really change too much, but it could change a lot. So, I think moving forward, like there's going to be a way more thought process going into how teams do their preseason schedules. And this year is obviously set the way it's set, so there's not much we can change about it. But I'm wondering if a hard schedule is going to help us or if it's going to hurt us a little bit more. So it'll be interesting.
So on that note, is there any non-conference games that you can, share with the fans right now, share with us that, any games you can.
Okay. So we're going up to Gonzaga. And then we're playing at Eastern, which, we've seen for the last few years. So that'll be fun. We're playing at Oregon. Kelly Graves was my coach in college, and my associate head coach played for him as well. So we're excited about that. We get to go up to Eugene. We got some tough ones. We open with New Mexico at home, so that'll be fun. And then we go to Colorado in December. We go to Colorado and to Utah. Okay. So we got some challenges ahead of us.
3 Pac-12 schools on that schedule. So is Utah? I don't know if you can say anything or not, and if you can, I understand. But is Utah the outside of Utah Tech and Utah Valley? Is Utah the only in-state school that you'll play this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm a big proponent of in-state games. Like I'm from Utah. I graduated from Utah Valley, and when I don't see BYU or Utah State or Utah or Weber on the schedule, like it really, I'm not gonna lie, it upsets me because it's like those games should be played every year, and that's just my opinion. But maybe you're the same way.
Yeah, no, I agree. We've tried to get some of those like BYU. It just didn't work out this year. But I agree. I think we have quite a few Utah players on the roster, and I think it's a fun, whether it's a BYU, a Utah, a Weber, Utah State, like there's just that rivalry of like, it's your state. So, yeah, I mean, I wish we could play them all, but it's just kind of how it worked out.
Absolutely. Tracy, I want to ask you one last question here. I don't know if my co-hosts do. Do you guys have any more questions? Shake your head yes or no, then ask away before I get to my final question.
I wanted to ask you about your experience as an associate head coach, just because I know you kind of did everything from scouting to player development, stuff like that. How has that really helped you as a head coach in general, and also just at SUU specifically?
Yeah, I think, I was at St. Mary's College for a long time, played there, started coaching the year after I graduated. And kind of went through, came in as like the bottom assistant and worked my way up and was the associate head coach before I came here. So I did get to see a lot of different things. Throughout time, it's crazy how things have changed. I mean, I was the assistant coach that was doing film exchange with VHS tapes. So it's, I've done the schedule, I've done the budget, I've done the recruiting, kind of been able to do a little bit of everything. And really, as the head coach, I think where it's changed is you have to figure out, well, build a staff that, can basically fill voids. So if, one's doing recruiting, okay, this one has this role, and really kind of identify those roles. I also think it's important to let them have the same experiences that I've had where, they get to do something new so that they're preparing themselves for that next step. But I think coming in as a head coach, it's a matter of like, okay, now you're setting those people up for different things. And then you get to kind of oversee it and watch it. Like I said earlier, my staff is amazing. I mean, Katie, Haley, Jay have been with me. Katie's been with me for 4 years, and those other two have been here the whole time. And I think that says a lot about, what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I think that's a huge tribute to our success as well, is that we've been able to stay together as a staff and we're all on the same page and we understand, who does what and how it goes. So, just my experiences, I think, have helped a lot in kind of getting me here. And I've worked for and played for some great coaches. And so I think you take the things that you love and, there's things that sometimes you're like, I'll never do that. And then sometimes you end up doing it anyways. But, I just think I've been blessed with the people that I've been able to work for and work with.
Tracy, I want to ask you 2 questions. I know I said I had a final question, but I got 2 questions for you. The first one is, you just talked about your non-conference schedule, Road Warriors. I mean, how does that benefit your squad? And is there maybe a fear that they'll get worn out with so much travel in the non-conference slate before you obviously get to conference play where you have to travel certain places you haven't been before?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. This is kind of the first year that, like I said, we've played this tough of a preseason schedule. I know our girls are excited for it. We've kind of tipped them off and said, hey, like, look, it's going to be tough. But I do think that these games are going to be good challenges for us to, this is the level we want to get to. And this is, be up for the challenge and be competitive, like we're a tough team. And so we need to be tough and understand that, like travel is going to be hard. It's going to be hard in the preseason. It's going to be hard in conference. And, we have some home games in here too, and we have some non-D1 games in here too. So we tried to kind of, not pair too many tough games back to back and stuff like that to make it, where we could, okay, we know we have this tough game. We're going to follow it up with, a different game and stuff like that. But, it's a challenge and I'm excited for them for this challenge. Like I said, this is a great group. I mean, I think since I've been here, I would say this is the best recruiting class we've had, whether it's transfers or newcomers, freshmen. But it's a great group and I'm just excited to kind of see what we can do with them.
So now I'm on my last question. I promise this is my last question for everybody. Being in Cedar City, outside of being on campus and, coaching, maybe what's something you enjoy doing outside of, the basketball realm of things in Cedar City with all that there is to do down there?
For sure. I love being outside. I mean, that was one of the things that kind of drew me to this place it took a while for me to leave Moraga, California. So this is a special place. You know, I see myself being here for a while. I love living here, and that's always been important to me. Like, you know, I want to coach somewhere where I love living, and I love to go hiking. I have a Rottweiler that is my world. So we spend a lot of time outside. And I mean, there's so many places to see here. You know, if you love to be outdoors, like there's not a better place, I don't think, to live. So we go out exploring, and yeah, I just love it. I mean, lots of places to hike and just visit and different things to see. It's a beautiful country.
So yeah, just for the fans who are watching this right now, like we said yesterday on the episode with Todd Simon, Zion's National Park is about 35-40 minutes away from Cedar City.
Mm-hmm.
Bryce Canyon, same thing, right up the canyon. If you're a skier, Bryan Head Ski Resort right there, about a 25-minute drive or so. Beautiful red rocks. Come check it out. I mean, Tracy can say all that because she knows all about that stuff, right?
It's awesome.
It's awesome. That's Southern Utah women's basketball head coach Tracy Sanders. Tracy, thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll probably talk to you in October around Media Day when it comes back up.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Again, we just got done chatting with SUU women's basketball coach Tracy Sanders. Good stuff, as always. The Thunderbirds had one of their best seasons ever in 2021-22, 14 conference wins in the Big Sky, second most in program history. So a lot of good things. They get Utah Valley transfer Megan Jensen in. Sounds like a brutal non-conference schedule, what they're saying, with all the travel that's involved, 3 Pac-12 schools, plus a trip to Gonzaga and Eastern Washington. I mean, that's brutal. Guys, what did you think from talking to Tracy today and what the T-Birds are facing non-conference schedule-wise, but what they're going to bring to the WAC too?
You know, after the reveal of that UTA preseason schedule earlier this week, I thought somebody was going to have to do a pretty doggone good job of matching what Sharika Wright did. And I think Tracy Sanders and her staff did a pretty darn good job of coming close. I mean, those couple of P5 games now bring, I believe, the unofficial total to somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 or 15 games against the P5s. And that's really, really good for us in terms of building a brand and a reputation nationally. Now, for me, I want to see us start to take on the Colonial Athletic Association, one of the other better mid-majors on the Eastern Seaboard, or the A-Sun. That's kind of the next step I want to see our teams take.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can do that because I know the teams on the East Coast don't like to come west, and I don't know why. I mean, on the men's side, you know, I've seen teams on the East Coast have multiple non-D1s, and it's like, why don't you get a home and home with a West Coast school and stuff? So we'll see. I like that thought. You know, I mentioned that to Todd Simon yesterday about, you know, getting some kind of conference affiliated challenge, you know, going with another conference, which would be great for the WAC, both on the men's and women's side. So that's a great thought, Daryl. Chelsea, what were your thoughts from today's interview with Tracy Sanders?
Well, I already thought this before speaking with her, but I just think that Southern Utah is such like the perfect addition to a conference that's becoming more and more competitive. I mean, she said it herself, you know, it's such a more athletic conference in comparison to many others, especially at the mid-major level. And I think that they are just the perfect addition to come in and bring even more athleticism, even more talent. Shocked about their height on that team as well. And I think that's something that's going to be a big storyline this season is like the bigs on all the teams. I mean, it felt like every single team got some kind of big recruit or something like that, you know, to increase their post play. And so I think that, you know, they come in and they add to that storyline. And I just think they're going to be really good. And I think, you know, maybe not this year, but maybe very soon in the future, they might be our WAC champions, you know, and with a coach so knowledgeable and so experienced in basketball, I think that they have the perfect person in that leadership role to do just that.
Not just experience, but she's dedicated to that program. You know, you get some coaches that are 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you know, knowing that this may be a stepping stone. She said it specifically that she could see herself there at Southern Utah for a long time, which I think says so much about what she wants to accomplish there and where her mindset is. So I really liked our interview today. Any final thoughts before I close us out here?
I'm excited I can't wait to see this team live. I can't wait to see UTA live. Obviously the WAC, we got tougher last year with the addition of the Texas group, and we get even tougher, I think, 223. I'm curious to see these teams live. We obviously, paper tells us can only tell you so much. Coach interviews can only tell you so much. But when we see a team on the floor, when scrimmages start, and when we get to opening night, November 7th, we're going to start to learn a lot about how this race is going to play out.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting, especially how the new seating system is put out with non-conference schedules. There's going to be a lot of travel for some teams, and other teams are going to get more home games, and we're going to see how that plays out into December and January. And then I feel like there's so much depth in the conference, both on the men's and women's side, that teams are going to beat up on each other, and it'll be interesting to see what happens at the end of February, how the seeding comes out. It's going to be an exciting 2022-23 season. We're looking forward to it. WAC Hoops Nation, remember, check out the links in the description below. Get your MLB stuff. Get ready for the MLB playoffs. Get your NFL gear. NFL season starts in 2 weeks. NBA gear is there, WNBA, college fan gear. There's all kinds of New Mexico State, Southern Utah, Abilene Christian, Stephen F. Austin gear all over fanatics.com. Check it out. If you're going to Vegas, and I know Abilene Christian is, I know New Mexico State men is, book your trip through vegas.com. There's a link in the description below. Good stuff. Plenty of discounts. Anyways, follow us on WAC Hoops Digest on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and make sure you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button as you're watching this to never miss an episode of the Straight Out WAC podcast. For Daryl and Chelsea, have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Straight Outta WAC podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other podcasting platforms. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Remember to follow us on Twitter at WAC Hoops Digest and Facebook under WAC Hoops Digest for all your WAC Hoops news and information.